If you're like me, you are tired of trying to find jeans that fit right no matter your build and still look good. Introducing the newest sponsor of the Double Doing podcast, Sweat Tailor, a premium menswear brand that is defining a new kind of casual. I started wearing Sweat Tailor and I am blown away by how comfortable and affordable the clothes are. And of course, they look great. My favorite is the all-in pants. It's a 5-pocket pant that feels like sweats but look way better. Thoughtfully tailored and unbelievably stretchy. From jackets and pants to joggers and hoodies, Sweat Tailor's designs are made to seamlessly fit into your life, moving from runway to office, office to drinks, and drinks to wherever the night takes you. Specializing in casual wear for men, pieces are designed with comfort and versatility in mind for your everyday. Use promo code BDEEGST. That is BDEEGST for 25% off. That again is BDEEGST for 25% off your order at sweattailor.com. And welcome back to another episode of Double Dunk Podcast. My name is Brenden D. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We're talking strictly Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to tee up the Buccaneers hosting the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football for you. We're going to talk about last minute reactions, I guess, to the Minnesota Vikings game. What's going on with Jalen Hurts? How can the offense get better? We're doing it all today. No one else to do it with than the best looking man in Denmark, like I said last week. Thomas Petersen is here. Thomas,
what's up,
how
man?
we doing? Doing well. I'm not liking how cold it's getting outside right now, especially in Canada. Like it's already, we went to take my dog for a walk this morning. It was already 9 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is to Fahrenheit for the US listeners, but it's getting cold in Ajax, Ontario, Canada right now.
Yeah, it's coming rapidly.
Yeah.
Winter's coming.
Winter is coming. Word to Game of Thrones. Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
I did. I was not as impressed with it. I binge watched like the majority of the seasons over a couple of days.
It's like, I think we're 7 years taken from season 8 of Game of Thrones, and I still think about it on a daily basis, how utter trash it was, and how they completely ruined the series. Ending. It was awful. Yeah. I actually still haven't watched, I boycotted the last episode because I was so mad at episode 6 of season 8. I'm like, I'm not even watching the finale. Still haven't watched it to this day, and I know it was bad, so I absolutely hate the way that show ended. What is your favorite show of all time? What do you watch?
What's my favorite show of all time? That's a good one. I think it'd probably be How I Met Your Mother.
Okay, that's a good call. I love How I Met Your Mother. I could watch the show any day. It's one of those shows
that's got to be it, because everything from the storyline to just the average entertainment per episode was really good.
Was Marshall your favorite character?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Marshall's the best.
I think it's more difficult with these large shows like Breaking Bad. I think also the first 3 seasons were epic, kind of the same with Game of Thrones. Like the first couple of seasons were really, really good, but then I just lost interest when it got to the last season of that show, and kind of the same with Game of Thrones.
Love Breaking Bad. The Wire. Have you seen The Wire before?
No, I haven't actually.
The Wire is my favorite show of all time. That should be a must-watch for you. It's awesome. You'll like it. Okay. It's based on the city of Baltimore, so it's like 5 seasons, and every season is like a different part of Baltimore. So one is like the drug dealers, one is like the police station, one is like the court systems, and like if you're a main character in one season, you would be like a side character in another season. It kind of ties together like the whole drug scene in Baltimore. It's brilliant. Well done show. Highly recommend. It's my favorite show of all time. Nothing beats it. Breaking Bad would be number 2 probably, but absolutely love The Wire. One more question about How I Met Your Mother. Are you like a team FU Lily? Because I think Lily is like an underrated shitty character in TV. It was one of my TV.
I don't have that strong opinions on the characters.
Fuck Lily, to be honest. Ruined that show. She can suck it.
Fuck Lily, to be honest.
Fuck Lily. To be honest, she was so mean to Marshall the entire show. She leaves him. She was just like, and she just like has like that lovable like face, and then you just know in the back end she's just like not a nice person. She just seemed fake, you know.
Yeah. Fuck Lily.
Yeah, fuck Lily. That's what the Double Doink podcast motto is going forward. I was thinking, Thomas, we should do like a segment every week where you describe like a really gruesome injury at your work. I really liked that segment last time. When I went back and listened to it, I'm like, you know what? This should be like a legit like segment on our show going forward. Maybe we'll save it for this week, and then next week come up with you can make it up if you want. If you want to make up a gruesome story, if you don't have one, I'm sure you have one on deck.
Oh, I mean, it's just this Monday I had the most destroyed elbow I've ever seen in my life. Like somebody on those what are they called? Hold on, let me just Google this real quick.
Funny bone?
No. It's like the stand-up scooters, like electronically driven,
like a pogo. No, I was thinking of a pogo stick for a sec. No, not a pogo stick.
Wow. So the translation it's giving me is a scooter, but it's not a scooter. Like you're standing up on it. Kicker?
I've never heard of this before.
All right, so it's two wheels, then a platform. You're standing on it.
There's like a hoverboard.
A hoverboard, yeah.
Hoverboard. Okay,
right. So an electronically driven hoverboard that's been manipulated so it can drive 40 kilometers per hour.
Jesus.
And this person is obviously drunk, riding on this thing, and then wants to do like a jump, trips over and falls down on a railing, takes off with the one arm, and the elbow just completely it dislocates and it's shattered. It's shattered. God. Yeah, that was pretty. That was a pretty gruesome injury.
God's sakes! All right, well, we need you to top that one next week. That's
all. Friday, so let's see.
The elbow is so sensitive. Like that. Just thinking of that just gave me chills down my back.
Yeah, the elbow shit, because whenever you have to fixate the elbow with like a splinter, and or do surgery in any sort of regard, it's so quickly becoming a stiff joint. And it really prohibits any sort of movement, like supination, pronation. You can't flex or extend after you've been immobilized. So plenty of fractures in the elbow you actually don't do anything about. You just start to train immediately if it's not dislocated, not in the humerus.
Well, good. I love some elbow talk before we talk Eagles. Everyone's getting smarter here. Everyone's learning different stuff from different avenues. All right, Thomas, let's talk about our team. The Philadelphia Eagles, they are heading to Tampa Bay to play on Monday Night Football. We'll dive in sort of that matchup, but a lot going on this week. Avonte Maddox was ruled and put on long-term IR, so he's going to be done for the year with a torn pectoral muscle. In general, how big of a loss do you think this is?
I mean, it's a big loss, just simply because of the level that we know Maddox can play at. He wasn't playing at a high level for the first two games before he got injured, but I don't think it's fair to kind of judge him off of that alone. We know he can make plays. We know he's a pretty solid player, but it's been a couple injuries in a row now for Maddox, and I don't know, to some extent you also really want to see what else you have, and you also want to look ahead to get that replacement, because Maddox is not a clear-cut candidate to get extended beyond his contract. It always sucks with its injuries, and it just goes to show that Eagles were wise to keep as much depth as they did in cornerback, because they already do have in-house options. They don't have to sign anyone off the streets. They can choose to go with the depth that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Maddox has just been an absolute Band-Aid the last 2 years. I hate to say it. He only played 9 games last year. Now he's out for the year. He missed a bunch of games like early in his career. He's just a guy that just has not been able to stay healthy. Now, I think that's something to do with the way his play style. And if you take that away from him, you take away the best part of Avonte Maddox when he's physical, going downhill, hitting guys. Like that is what makes Maddox. And that also is what makes him get injured. So it does suck in that way. And there's a lot of football players that can kind of relate to that. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not on the team next year. I was taking a look at his contract earlier today, and it's kind of even money right now. Like it wouldn't cost them much. It wouldn't save much to kind of get rid of him. But they have so many younger guys on the roster now. Maybe they move on from him because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the 2024 season anyway. So maybe there's a trade partner, but coming off a torn pectoral muscle, it's kind of tough to see that. So like his future with the team is now in limbo. after he's signed a second contract. So hats off to him. Like, he's been a good Eagle, and I think he's going to be a loss. But I think if you're going to pick one of the secondary positions to lose out of the five, like the three cornerbacks and the two safeties, I think Maddox is probably the easiest to replace. One at safety, they just don't have enough talent there. I know you're losing probably a guy that's not as good, but you get less good as you go down the depth chart there. And I think the Eagles have some actual options to replace Maddox in the inside, which let's get to now. What do you think the best course of action is to replace Maddox?
I think from the little, I think I've watched the game 2 times in all 22. Haven't gotten any breakdowns of it. I simply haven't had the time. But when I watched the whole secondary play, and the big plays that they gave up from this game against the Vikings, it was either really good passes by Kirk Cousins. He threw some darts into tight coverage.
Yeah, man. There was a couple of Justin Jefferson catches where I'm going like, how the hell did they even get the ball in there?
Ball get there? You're right. And then the other plays are simply miscommunication from the Eagles secondary, where three defenders or three DBs are playing man, and then one is playing zone. And then another one, the touchdown they had where they're kind of crossing, a deep crossing, where Darius Slay is following his guy, Josh Jobe is passing his guy along. And you just don't know when you're looking at that. All right, what was the rule supposed to be there? Were they supposed to carry guys coming across, or was supposed to give them off to somewhere else and then stay and kind of wall off anything coming towards you? We don't know that. And so that kind of gave me some reassurance that these players are good. It's not because they were bad. It's simply because they weren't playing the right technique in terms of the coverage scheme. And that's something that can be fixed pretty easily. And so I think Goodrich played well. I think Eli Ricks had a really good rep, just one rep coming off the bench against Justin Jefferson in the slot. That's nice to see. And I think Sidney Brown can play. We haven't seen it really yet. He doesn't really get on the field much, so that's a little bit more of a tough evaluation.
4 defensive snaps the 2 games. Yeah. Sidney Brown.
And so I think definitely the talent is there. And when they've been on the field, I think Josh Jobe also played well. He gave up one deep touchdown. It is what it is. He was somewhat in position to make the play, just didn't get his head turned around. And then the other ones were pretty much just miscommunication. They're not playing the right scheme. They had 11 days to pick that up now and to kind of fix things. So you assume that they're more comfortable with the guys they have now because they can kind of build off of the scheme game by game with these guys. So I think they're pretty set with their in-house options, and I think they played well based on when they were playing the right technique. And then there's some things to clean up. There always is.
Yeah, so they worked out former Bengals and Commanders cornerback William Jackson yesterday. They worked on a bunch of guys. He was kind of the known name. So we'll see if he end up getting signed. I believe he's more of an outside corner. I could be wrong.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, so I think he would
played about 10% of his snaps per season in the slot.
Yeah, so that he would be kind of, if you're signing him, you're probably looking, okay, then maybe we push James Bradbury inside and have him start on the outside, or you move someone else to start on the outside. So or Josh Jobe goes there, Eli Ricks, whoever. There's a lot of different kind of puzzle pieces they can move around here if they do bring in William Jackson. I'm kind of with you. I think they should stay in-house. I think the in-house options are fine. I actually thought Mario Goodrich, like you, I went back and watched the entire Vikings game. I actually thought he played well the second watch around. One of my biggest takeaways, like rewatching that Vikings game, and I didn't fully rewatch the first game, but I feel like the stats of the defense aren't telling the whole story, if that makes sense. Like, the stats don't look very good. Like, they gave up 7 passing touchdowns so far. They gave up 300 yards to Mac Jones, and they gave up, I don't know how many yards to Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins was throwing the ball around. I just feel like these are little easy fixes, and the players are going, like, this will get better, and you will see the scheme, and you will see this defense playing at a very high level towards the end of the year. It kind of just feels like they're going through some the ropes here. Like, it's 2 games in. We have a new defensive coordinator here. I really do believe that Sean Desai has his defense playing well, and the stats just aren't there to show it. Like, the tape is a lot better than the stat sheet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think what really stands out in the stats and what also shows out on tape is the Eagles' run defense has been really good. They've been shutting down everything that's been thrown at them. A lot of the passing miscues I think is very fixable, and I think it's a combination of new scheme and a lot of turnaround in just 2 games with players coming in and out and suddenly signing a new linebacker off coming in. Like Morrow didn't even make the team to begin with, and now he's starting as the green dot guy. And you have rookies getting reps in there. Goodrich coming in playing full-time snaps. Job coming in playing full-time snaps. It's bound to be. Reed Blankenship's not even there. Like there's got to be decline when you're having that many new guys in a new system. There's going to be mistakes, and yeah, I think they've been really, really good opportunistically in creating turnovers to kind of compensate for their lack of ability to sustain stops just on drives, because offenses have been driving on them, and then they've made an interception or a forced fumble. And hadn't it been for the Contavious Street thing, the Eagles would have forced 5 fumbles against the Vikings. Goodrich forced another one. Good play by him. And also, I just think that Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones have played good football when they played them. They've been smart, really smart with the ball.
Yeah. I just back to the Goodrich thing quick. I do believe he deserves a shot here. He, of course, was kept on the team. Like he wasn't, we didn't have him on our 53-man roster when we were doing our projections. I don't think a lot of people did. He definitely showed something in camp where the Eagles are going, okay, this guy deserves a spot. And it's time to shine, man. Like this is your opportunity here. So I do think he deserves a chance. However, I do think that the Avonte Maddox injury should open up other avenues for other players to get on the field as well, not just Goodrich. I would really like to see Sidney Brown get some slot opportunities.
Yes, please.
He did play like the slot well in college. Like if you take a look back at his 2022 season at Illinois, he had 177 snaps in the slot. He was 8th in all of college football in forcing completions. He had a really high PFF grade at covering in the slot. I think it's time. Like he's like I said, he's played 4 defensive snaps over 2 games, none in the first game, 4 in last game. We haven't seen enough from him to kind of get an opinion on him yet. But I do believe he's got the athleticism to do it. He's probably the most athletic player in the secondary on this team. And I think he deserves a chance here. Like, again, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I always look to practice. Of course, Sean Desai and them probably know the players better than us, but just from an outsider's perspective here, let's get Sidney Brown some run, Thomas.
Yeah, would love to see that. Love to see it.
So,
plus, I think he's the best option to cover tight ends on the defense.
Yeah, for sure. And like this is a bigger Tampa Bay receiving unit. Like Michael Evans, you got some bigger guys here. So I do think they got to be aggressive in the secondary, which we'll get to. Okay. So the other injuries, Reed Blankenship and Kenneth Gainwell. Since it's a Monday night game, we're not going to have too much info on these injuries at this time.
They should be coming back.
Yeah, I think Bradbury's going to play. He sounds like he's progressing through concussion protocol. So Nick Sirianni did mention Reed Blankenship, James Bradbury, and Kenneth Gainwell all have a chance to play. You caught an interesting piece of this. You were talking before the episode. He did not mention the third name.
Which one's the new guy? It's Chris Watkins with the hamstring, who looked very much out when it happened against the Vikings. He was not looking like a guy who was close to getting back on the field. A guy who is living his game off being a strider. Got to get them hammies going.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough go. He's got Olamide Zaccheaus behind him. This could be an opportunity for Zaccheaus to show something. He did not really get anything thrown his way in the Vikings game. It was some
none whatsoever.
With a large snap count. Sorry. So, yeah, the Quez Watkins injury was definitely the one that caught your eye, and I didn't even notice it until you brought it up when Nick Sirianni didn't mention him. But Nick Sirianni's press conferences are kind of coming. Sorry, almost like useless to watch at this point. Like he's not giving any information anymore. It's funny. Like I remember as a kid, like I used to love I started watching press conferences the Chip Kelly era because Chip Kelly's press conferences he would always give you something. Like he was never hold his tongue. Doug Peterson's press conferences were always entertaining and fun. And then Nick Sirianni's like the complete opposite. Just like
a little bit more Andy Reid type. I mean, it's a little bit more predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Time's yours.
Yeah, but usually, like I don't even bother. Like I listened to like half the one on Monday. I'm like, this is pointless, like a complete waste of my time.
Yeah.
I could be doing something more productive, which is lying on the couch probably. But okay, so that's injuries. Let's talk about the offense, Thomas.
Yeah.
I wanted to focus on this to start the episode because that's kind of the hot topic. The Eagles are 2-0, of course, but their offense doesn't look so good. And specifically, Jalen Hurts' stats are kind of odd and not what I predicted. Jalen Hurts right now is dead last in success rate out of all 32 quarterbacks. So what success rate means is, are you getting expected a positive EPA on every single play? And then translating that into a success rate. So it takes away the deep shots, it takes away the negative plays, it kind of just bowls it all together. Jalen Hurts is 32 out of 32 quarterbacks. He's also 23rd in EPA per play. So the analytic stats are not pretty for Jalen Hurts.
He does have 7.3% higher completion rate than expected prediction.
Yes, that's the one thing. That's one thing I wanted to get into. His accuracy has been good, and when I went back to the Vikings game, all the throws were there. Like it wasn't like he was missing. Like the first half, there was a couple. He had one to the sideline to Dallas Goedert that I didn't that looked bad on the second watch through. But like majority of the time, he's hitting, like the throws are there and the accuracy's there. It's more of the timing aspect and him just not being able to get the throws off. So I guess my question is, what do you think the next few games look like for Hurts? Are you confident in him going forward? And how do you think the Eagles can maybe get him going more?
Running the ball, to kind of catch your questions there in a little bit of an opposite way. What they can do to get him going more and just basically get the offense going more is by running the ball a little bit more, I think, because it's very clearly the force of the team. And when running gets going and drives are successful, defenses start to bite a little bit more up. Some of the play action things will be more relevant. The linebackers will be respecting everything from the running back a lot more, from Hurts as well, and that just opens up the shots down the field. When the Vikings are dropping 8 into coverage and rushing 3, not a lot of guys are going to get open. It really takes some quick decisions from the quarterback to do so. And I think Hurts has been undecisive and a little bit hesitant in his progressions. Like he doesn't throw the ball. You can clearly see on a lot of plays where he kind of like he tucks the ball back a little bit as if he's starting a throwing motion, then he tucks it and doesn't get the ball off. And it's clear to see that it's out of uncertainty of whether the window he's seeing is actually there. So I don't think he's trusting his gut a little bit on these throws, and he's trying to be more careful than what is benefiting him in terms of statistical measures and all this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There are windows to be made. He's missing some guys, and I don't. But then again, when I watch these games here, it's not like I'm looking at it and saying he missed the guy, because he's very clearly looking at the guy, about to pull the pin, and then tucks it. Mm-hmm. And then he starts to scramble around a little bit. That's obviously what you do, because if you lock in on a target, finding a new one, it takes a lot of time, and so he wants to extend the plays a little bit early there. So I think, how can you defeat dropping 8? You run the ball. How can you defeat a shit ton of blitzing and like we saw in the first game, that they really couldn't get anything going because the offensive line were getting beat as shit in pass protection. How do you defeat that? You run the ball. You get screens out there. You go quick stuff that is out of the hands of the quarterback, and where your offensive line could just bull rush people, just dominate people, because they're doing that. When they get the chance, Dickerson and Mailata, they're mauling people. And yeah, I think Hurts has not had the greatest start to the season. I think there's an emphasis on ball security that maybe goes a little too far in terms of not taking some shots, but also that's why they've won games. Like if he throws one more interception in each of the Patriots and the Vikings game, they probably lose that game. Mm-hmm. So it's a fine line, and I just think that it's going to take a little bit of time to find the offensive groove in general, and hence that also affects Hurts.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this on last episode, and I know it's kind of an easy cop-out, but I really do think the way the Patriots and Vikings played Hurts really affected him. And the Eagles maybe weren't prepared for it as much. Like The Vikings were running 3-3-5 formations at like an alarming rate. I think I brought up that they had played the highest 3 safety looks since 2014 on last episode. It was a very funky looking defense, especially on the rewatch. Like I was kind of baffled going like, who the hell has decided this? Like it was not the way an NFL defense should look. Hats off to Brian Flores for doing that. Like, but the Eagles counterpunched it nicely with the run game in the second half. But I really do believe that Bill Belichick and Brian Flores have done a great job of throwing curveballs at Hurts where he is just not reading it right. And that's what the stats do back up. Like he's not seeing the defense that is in front of him the way that he was last year. Now, I do think this is going to change. Defenses are not going to be able to continue to play 3 high safeties against a team that just ran for 254 yards or whatever it was against you. There's going to have to be counter punches going both ways, and that's going to happen for the Eagles passing game. And I really do believe that Jalen Hurts is trying not to turn the ball over, like you said, the protection of it. I think it's been kind of drilled in his head, like even when he's running. I would like to see him play a little more freely, a little bit, and just a little more loose. He just seems tighter right now, but I'm not worried about him. And the second rewatch of that game really helped me kind of calm my nerves because the second half was great. Like that rollout to AJ Brown was an awesome play if that counted. Of course, there was the penalty on Rashad Penny, but that was like a beautiful play. He was like the ball, the zip coming off off his hand in the second half looked better. He just looked like a more comfortable player. So I really think we're going to see that second half Jalen Hurts translate into the rest of the year. And like some of the stats are there. Jalen Hurts against the blitz so far this year, 16-25 for 211 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now that doesn't show the sacks he's taking as well and whatnot. Those are just him actually throwing. But when the Eagles are picking the blitz up, it's getting there. Jalen Hurts is able to set
the initial stat you brought up with the success rate. That takes those plays into account as well. Where he's taking sacks and where he's getting nowhere, and it just hasn't been successful.
Yeah, but I do think that they're gonna they've got 11 days. This is I think we're gonna. It's only been a 2-game sample size. I really think this third game is going to help us a lot in the Jalen Hurts study to begin the year because Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator.
Another good defense.
Exactly. Yeah. Todd Bowles is another good defensive coordinator, good defensive head coach. And they've had 11 days to figure this shit out. So it's kind of like, okay, what have you done over those last 11 days to fix this? If it's still not working and the passing game is still below average to bad, then there's some questions that can be asked. But I really think we should hold the panic button on any Jalen Hurts or any passing game kind of talk or conversation until next Tuesday or Monday night, whatever you want to say. And his middle of the field has been okay. Like I was looking up some stats of him throwing over the middle of the field. He's only thrown the ball in a 10 to 19 yard range over the middle 3 times. He's 3 for 3 for 43 yards. He's only missed 2 throws over the middle combined all season. So, and that was something that he wasn't good at in 2021. And he looks like he's getting better at it as the years progress. So yeah, I'm fully confident Jalen Hurts heading forward.
Yeah, it's going to be a good test. His revenge game against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, it's a good storyline. I'm sure Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni had this one circled on their calendars when they got the schedule.
Yeah. Show us what you've done.
Exactly.
The Double Doink Podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life is hard. It's especially hard when you don't have someone you can open up to. Not everyone is comfortable talking to their friends and family about their personal matters or anything that is bothering them on a day-to-day basis. Mental health is so important to continued success in this world. Therapy is a great way to regroup and get everything off your chest. Insert BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the largest online therapy service, 100% online. They will match you with a professional licensed therapist you can trust. You can talk with your therapist however you see fit, via text, phone call, or video chat. BetterHelp has successfully helped over 4 million people worldwide deal with their day-to-day mental health issues. Use the link in the podcast description to get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp. The Double Doink Podcast is officially sponsored by Manscaped. Fresh Ball Fall is upon us, and you need to be in the festive spirit. Light a candle, get some pumpkin spice, and make sure your balls look nice with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. Nature may clear the leaves off the trees, but you'll need Manscaped's help to get you ready for the sweater weather. Get your pants puppies prepared for cuffing season with trim as refreshing as a ball breeze by going to manscaped.com and using code DOINK for 20% off everything plus free shipping. It's time for nice flannels and cozy socks, but we can't forget to trim our balls. By now, you've heard of them, but it's time to join the 9 million men worldwide who use Manscaped and get the kit that covers it all, the Performance Package 4.0. It starts with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology that reduces nicks and cuts to make the raking the leaves a lot less painful. Once you've cleared the driveway, the Performance Package comes in hot with products to cool you down. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Spray Toner, one to prevent stink and one to clear it up. With a soothing aloe vera formula, move over pumpkin spice, fresh balls are the smell of the season. The Performance Package 4.0 caps it off with 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. That's one to hold your Manscaped goodies and one to hold your man goodies. Bring in the fall right and get 20% off and free shipping with code DOINK at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code DOINK. As the leaves fall, make sure you have it all with Manscaped.
All right, let's get into the matchup. Let's start the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense against the Philadelphia Eagles offense, since we're already on the offense discussion. What are you looking at in this matchup?
The front of Tampa Bay is so damn good. Joe Tryon was really good last time Eagles played them. Lavonte David and Devin White still maybe the top duo at linebacker in the league. Shaquille Barrett, he gets after it. Vita Vea, one of the best nose tackles, maybe the best nose tackle in the league. Jordan Davis is starting to make a run for it here if he can keep it up. But until this point, Vita has been the more consistent player. Logan Hall, a guy that I really like coming out of Houston. He has high potential, hasn't really been able to stay on the field as much since he's been drafted, so you're kind of getting the early look on him here. Kalaisha Kansi, I don't know if he's playing. I believe he was considered week to week.
So he left. He started week 1, but he left, I believe, halfway through the game in week 1 with re-aggravated the calf injury. But I haven't heard any news outside of that. I don't know if he's played since.
He's a terrific player. He's had a great start to his career as well. When he's been on the field. Now, obviously, injuries can big time affect that.
Mm-hmm.
They still. I believe Jamel Dean and Antoine Winfield were both on the team as well when Eagles played them last time, and Charlton Davis as well. Wasn't he on the that wild card game?
Yep.
Familiar defense, physical defense, one that really, Todd Bowles likes to dial up some cornerback pressures as well coming off the edge. That affected Hurts last time they were playing them. So. Yeah, don't be fooled about the Buccaneers defense. They're a really good unit.
No, this is a stacked defense, and this was kind of, I think, one of the most underrated units heading into this year. I remember when I was doing my NFC South preview show, I was going when I was going through the Bucs depth chart, I was like, man, like this defense is like they still got a ton of talent here. Vita Vea, Logan Hall, Joe Tryon, Devin White, Shaq Barrett, Lavonte David, Jamel Dean, like Antoine Winfield Jr. They have a legit stud veteran defense that's going to be a top 10, top 12 defense basically in every category, I think, by the end of this year. They are currently 9th in EPA per play on defense. They are 7th in drop back success rate, so they're very good against the pass so far. I do think there's a couple players that the Eagles can't take advantage of. Jamel Dean right now is not off to a good start this season. He is last week against the Bears. He allowed 8 catches on 11 targets. Or sorry, this is combined over the 2 weeks. 8 catches on 11 targets for 136 yards and a touchdown. He's been their worst graded corner. He's struggling to get off to a hot start. I know he got paid this offseason. So I think that's a matchup you would like to attack. And I do think that this could be a big Dallas Goedert game. Lavonte David's older player right now. Devin White is one of the worst coverage linebackers in the NFL. I really think they can take advantage of that intermediate part of the center of the field like I was bringing up. And it's time for Dallas Goedert to get going here. He's had 6 catches for 22 yards last week. I think if there's a time for Dallas Goedert to bounce back, it's this matchup against an aging Lavonte David and a bad Devin White in coverage. And I think the Eagles can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and for some reason, I just expect the Eagles offense to just continue to do what they do and just run the ball. Like we see your line and we raise you with what we do. But yeah, it'll be great to see the passing game get more coordinated and actually look like a well-oiled machine like we've seen before.
Mm-hmm. The Bucs defense has been good against the run. They're 5th in EP per play against the run so far. So overall, just a stud unit for Tampa's defense. But I think the Eagles can have this. Like I think the Eagles offense is a better unit than the Bucs defense is. So I really think this is even as good as the Bucs defense is, Eagles should be able to take advantage of it. We were talking before the show. There's a couple things I want to see the Eagles do on offense more. I really think they can get into more 12 personnel looks. I know Jack Stoll isn't the greatest player, but I really think having Jack Stoll on the field, it tricks defenses into think you're going to run. I really think the play action game can come alive there. Jalen Hurts has been pretty good on play action passes so far for the first 2 weeks. And like I said, the middle defense is bad. So I really think not bad, but it's not as good with these guys getting older in Tampa. I really think that the middle defense can be had. So having 12 personnel, I think it helped that out. I think it would help Jalen Hurts out. This Olamide Zaccheaus and Quez Watkins aren't doing anything for you right now.
No.
Jack Stoll, I think, played really well in the run game last week. Dallas Goedert played a hell of a game in the run game as well. I really think, like, going back to kind of the roots that worked last year, 12 personnel of the Eagles was the best 12 personnel unit in the NFL in 2022. So I really think they can kind of rebound to that because they're playing 11 personnel at a ridiculously high rate right now. So I would like to see that change. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else on the Eagles offense versus Bucs defense?
Nope.
All right, let's flip it over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense versus the Philadelphia Eagles defense, led by the fighting Baker Mayfields here. What do you make of Baker so far? Thomas, he hasn't thrown an interception, man.
No.
He's shocking the world. He's got them at 2-0, baby.
He's throwing some wild ones, and none of them are getting interception. Yeah, Baker's playing well. I mean, he's bakering. It's
Baker's bakering.
It's up and down, and he's going to hit a hot streak, and then he's going to look like the worst quarterback in the world. It's just like you're getting either or. There's not really a fine line in there, so I'm excited to see how long he can keep this streak going, and hopefully it's going to end right now. He's the third highest graded passer in the NFL.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to be like, have you taken a look at the PFF quarterback grades? Baker Mayfield sitting there.
It's absurd. I mean, we're going back to Cleveland days before he had anything of the sort. And yeah, he actually had a season with Cleveland, 2020, 4,000 passing yards, 30 TDs, 9 interceptions. I had forgotten Baker Mayfield even had that in him, to be honest. Yeah, I expect the Eagles to come the hell out of Baker Mayfield because he's not as cerebral and smart and accurate a quarterback as Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk handled the Eagles' pressure really well. Baker Mayfield makes some boneheaded decisions. I think the Eagles' D-line are going to feast on this guy. Now, he has the ability to scramble out. He's got legs. He can move. So I think they're going to be giving up some bigger runs for him. Watch the Baker Mayfield run line if you're betting on the Eagles this week.
Ooh, there we go.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of I think Eagles defensive line match up well to the type of quarterback that Baker Mayfield is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they need to be aggressive on the receivers. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are still really, really good players. They can be easily targeted for Baker Mayfield if they get a little bit of cushion. And if you get Mike Evans on any one of the Eagles cornerbacks in a 10-yard off and he just gets the ball, I have full confidence that Mike Evans will stiff arm the living shit out of any Eagles cornerback for a 50-yard gain and a touchdown out of nowhere. So yeah, I expect them to be really aggressive and get their hands on line of scrimmage. At least that's what I want to see. I don't know if I actually expect them to do it.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield's kind of been a funny story to start the year. Like he had threw it for 300 yards, 317 yards, 26 to 34 and a touchdown last week. Now, the Bears defense is awful, probably the worst defense in the NFL right now. So you can take those numbers with a grain of salt. But I do think he's been impressive. Like he's been impressive on third down, especially the Bucs third down were 8 of 15 on third down last week, 1 for 1 on fourth down. He's making the plays when he has to. He's made a couple like scrambling plays out of the pocket where he's getting the ball past the sticks. This is probably the best receiver unit Baker Mayfield has had. If you think back to the years in Cleveland, his last year with the Los Angeles Rams and in Carolina when he was there as well. So I think like that has something to do with this as well. He just has better weapons around him. Like Mike Evans is off to an amazing start this year. Last week he had 6 catches for 171 yards and a touchdown. He absolutely burned Tyreek Stevenson, the Bears rookie cornerback last week on an ugly play by him. But this is it's not an easy weapon group to stop. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are pretty good. Rashad White's having an okay start to the year, but I would be shocked if Baker Mayfield has another 300-yard passing game and the Eagles give up another big passing game to him. I think this is like the perfect quarterback to face for the Eagles defense.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay offensive line can be had. There's some guys on there like Robert Hainsey, the center, is has had a really rough start to the season. Allowed 7 pressures already through 2 weeks. He's one of PFF's lowest graded centers in the NFL through 2 weeks. And then Matt Filer on the other side. I've never been a big Matt Filer guy, and he's back starting at guard. So I really think that there's a couple places they can be had. Our boy Cody Mock is having a good start to the year in the pass blocking game, Thomas. Nice to see that. One of our draft crushes.
Yeah. I honestly would have expected him to be better in the run game before he would be better in the pass game, just given his nature of playing. But that has not been the case. He has sucked in run blocking.
Trying to think if there's anything else on the Bucs offense. Not really. I don't have much else. Do you have anything else?
Sharp White playing well.
Yeah.
He's receiving back out the backfield. Got to take a look at that. But on that, nope. Not too many.
All right, prediction time. Let's get out of here. What do you think happens on Monday Night Football?
I have a bad feeling it's going to be a stinker of a game, and another really close one. I think defense are going to be bailing out the offense once again. I think it's a close victory, this one.
We need to score, Thomas. You can't get away with this.
Oh, I thought you were going to share something as well. Let's go. I'm going to go 31-27.
Okay. 31 points. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be high? You think the Eagles are going to have 27 points?
Yeah, I think the Eagles can score a couple touchdowns on defense here.
Okay. I also think this is going to be a boring game. Sorry, other NFL fans. I think this is going to be a defensive matchup. I think the Eagles offense is going to move the ball, but it's not going to look as explosive. I think they maybe get one deep explosive play. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be extremely efficient underneath. So I'm going to I think the Eagles win comfortably. I'm going 27-13. I really think the Eagles defense is going to shine this week. I don't think the Bucs offense is going to be able to do much. I'm not believing in Baker until I see it again. And if he does well against the Eagles, I'll eat my words.
Yeah. Show us, Baker.
Exactly.
Or actually, don't.
Yeah. Appreciate if you wouldn't prove me wrong.
Yes.
But all right, man. Anything else before we get out of here? We won't be talking until after the game. So last chance.
Nope. It's another late one. We're excited about it.
Yep. Fun for you European fans.
Woohoo.
What did you make of this week's action? What did you make of your Sunday? What games did you watch? Give me what your setup was like.
I watched I had Red Zone on, and then I had Atlanta Falcons on.
Fun game. That was a fun game.
And then I was going a little back and forth with Chiefs and the Jaguars, and holy shit, the Jaguars blew it. I mean, they had so many chances to score, but none of their receivers were able to drag their feet. And I watched all of those missed chances where they're right at the sideline catching the ball. You have one foot down, then you just fail to drag the other one. I just kept thinking of Devontae Smith and going, thank God he's an Eagle.
Excuse me.
And then remember we talked about Atlanta Falcons, and I said this is a team that can win despite of the quarterback. That's exactly what they've been in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, they have been a very roller coaster squad to be 2-0. Talk about like everyone's like the Eagles are a rough 2-0 team. The Falcons, man, like they had no business winning that game. I thought the Packers completely blew it, but hey, the Falcons are 2-0. Back to the Jags Chiefs game. Trevor Lawrence had the most throws in the red zone attempted without a touchdown in NFL history in that game. I don't know if you caught that. Did you like Doug Petersen going for that on that? I think it was 4th and 12 in the red zone towards the end. I had a buddy.
I kept thinking. I mean, how many shots do you need?
Yeah,
I needed all of them.
Like I love aggressive coaching. So I'm always gonna be a Doug Petersen guy, but I thought
they kept showing the clips off of Press Taylor. He was calling plays to the Jaguars, and it was in that sequence where they just kept not hitting a single pass in the end zone, and I just kept looking at Press Taylor like, never change.
They are 31st in dropback EPA right now, the Jaguars. I don't understand why they're doing this Press Taylor thing, man. Like, what are we doing here?
It's not working, guys.
We've seen this, Doug EP, man. We've seen this game before. You were the coach of it. Like, why are we redoing the Press? It makes no sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get, does Press Taylor have like blackmail on Doug Petersen? I don't understand why he's still calling plays in the NFL. He was so bad in his tenure at the NFL. He was so bad in Indianapolis. I don't get it. Nope. Don't get it, Thomas. Nope. Chiefs defense is also quietly really good. I think it's going to be a really good unit all year. Nick Bolton, Trent McDuffie, they got some dogs on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
So I think if the Chiefs offense sputters, the defense can pick them up. One last thing, I think the Dallas Cowboys are really, really good, man. I think that first matchup is going to be tough. I think this is a good squad, unfortunately.
If Sauce Goddard picks off that ball and runs it back for an end zone, and it's 14-10 Jets instead of 17-7 Cowboys, it would have been a completely different game.
It's fair.
I think it was a little bit more close to being a real game than what should have been the case, considering how bad Zach Wilson played yet again.
Yeah. Do you believe in the 2-0 Commanders?
I think Sam Howell is playing well. He's off to a really good start. I see why they're confident in him. Why they were confident in him in the offseason. It's one of those head scratchers, kind of like with the Falcons, where you look at Desmond Ridder and you go, is that really the best answer you have? But then he comes out and they're winning with him. I mean, he is making some really good throws early, and then he has the rushing ability as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Jordan McLaurin in the end zone was nice.
I think I'm more impressed. I'm more convinced and impressed by the Washington's 2-0 start than I am with the Cowboys. Okay. I expected the Cowboys to be good, and I think they've been handed a cakewalk so far.
That's fair. I think the Giants are probably going to get their ass kicked on Thursday night. They know Saquon Barkley, no Andrew Thomas. It's going to be might be a rough go for the New York Giants. But all right, I think that's all we got. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Make sure to check out our sponsors, BetterHelp, Manscaped, and Sweat Taylor. All great companies. Make sure to support the show. Check them out. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to like the podcast on the YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe on wherever you get your audio podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it. We are there. Thomas and I will be back sometime next week, and we will talk to you later.